Hey, I'm currently in Moscow, Russia. If you don't know me, I'm an Australian who's lived in Belarus for almost 2 years now. Just jumped the border, visiting, and I'm on the hunt for some food. This is this ongoing issue as a traveling man. You've got to eat, right? You've got to source nutrients and calories from somewhere. And I'm someone who doesn't want to sit in a restaurant. For me, this is so boring. You just play on your phone, stare out the window, total waste of time. So I want fast things, right? I want tasty and healthy and cheap, right? All these magical kind of trilogy, right? Again, you want good habits if you're traveling around. Otherwise, you end up some fat, carcinogenic slob. You know what I mean? So build those good habits. And the good habit in this part of the world is the stolovaya. And if you've been in this part of the world before, you'll know what that means. Stolovaya translates directly into dining room. And this is like a canteen, the usual way to eat, right? This is the normal way to eat here in Russia and also Belarus, very, very common. We're going to go to a very famous one now. Very famous. It's called Kuchnia, Kak Doma, right? So that directly translates to kitchen, how home, which of course means home style kind of cooking, right? Got great reviews, looks delicious. I love it how the food's already sitting there. Had an experience yesterday waiting an hour for like a $2 meal, and it's like, then it comes out cold. It's just like, what the fuck are you guys doing, right? Just wasting my time. So I want to go in here. It's delicious, it's cheap, it's fast, it's healthy, and it's very, very traditional. This is like hardcore the way that Russians eat. And you'll probably know this is a working class area where I'm in now, where my hotel is, and you'll get probably a lot of dudes with fluoro jackets. You know, it's that kind of vibe. That's how it was yesterday when I ate somewhere a bit closer to home. But this one, apparently, immaculate reputation. If you want to see the stolovaya now, you can't wait. You're so excited. Just fast forward 1 or 2 minutes. I'll just have a bit of a general chat about food and traveling as a guy who's traveling around. What I'm finding increasingly, you've probably seen this as well, that in so many countries you go to, the food's starting to look the same everywhere. I was in a smaller city here in Russia a couple of weeks ago, Astrakhan. And I went to a shopping center because it was like 42 degrees, right? 42 Celsius, which in Fahrenheit's like fucking a heat, 110 or something, right? Really hot. So I'm like, all right, well, life's got to be in the shopping centers for a few days. So I went to a shopping center, went to the food court in the top there, and this is what I found. Burger, quesadilla. There was a blini shop, but it was like sweets, like pancake, kind of Russian pancakes, but it was like more of a sweet place, not really a meal. Shawarma, KFC, probably another burger place. There was no Russian food. I'm in like a smallish city in Russia. There's no Russian food, just this same shit, like shawarmas are pretty good. I think shawarmas are really underrated personally. I think they're generally quite healthy and cheap and fast and tasty. But you can't really eat them every day. And outside of that, we can eat a hamburger. Like, what the hell? So I was kind of disappointed, and I'm noticing this everywhere. The more you travel around, the more you start to see, especially in big cities, that things are just kind of becoming the same everywhere. And although it's still cool, and we're probably in a sweet spot for travel, right? Because there's enough in common with each other, and we're kind of nice to each other, but we're still a bit different, you know? But becoming the same, I imagine in a generation's time, there'll be very little point in going to most countries, to be honest. Oh man, I just walked past this like yard area, and it has several fighter jets and a couple of troop carrying choppers just sitting there. I'm not sure what it was. It didn't seem to be like a museum. But then I saw these signs, you are being filmed, right? And my buddy, an Australian guy, just last week in Mogilov, if you know this town in Belarus, it's probably second tier town, but some size to it. He has a little YouTube channel, just like mine, he kind of plays around with. And he was doing some filming, just filming random shit, talking, whatever. And he happened to film the outside of a KGB building, didn't realise. And they followed him out. They chased him down, arrested him, and interrogated him for 4 hours. Could you imagine? Because he filmed the building. So when I saw those little signs there, you are being filmed, it's like, okay, I'm just gonna not film this. Because I was gonna show you the couple of fighter jets there and whatever, some nostalgia. But instead, I'll just kind of show you the neighbourhood. So we got this slightly run down kind of building. Probably for industrial use, I guess. Looks like the hospital in Melbourne actually. But generally what I've noticed in Moscow is that stuff's in pretty good repair. Outside of Moscow it's a lot more mixed, right? A lot more mixed, but in Moscow things are in good nick. I mean, look at that. Things are taken care of, infrastructure's good. Everything works well. It's very Western, it's very effective and efficient here. Again, you can see the yards are taken care of. Even when you go in the stairwells there, it's all clean and repainted, right? Whereas even in Belarus, which is known to be such a beautiful place, those stairwells are bloody filthy, to say the least. Even though the outside looks good, always good, in good condition. I'm just on the way to this place, but I saw this place, really interesting. So it's a meat place. It says Miasov Lavashi, which just means meat in bread, essentially. And they've got these pictures of all the animals there. Now, in the West, this would be some kind of like tactic to try to make you feel guilty, right? Like vegetarian lobby would try to put these photos to try to get young children to feel emotional about eating meat or whatever. Whereas here, it's just put there. It's proudly. It's like, here's our pigs. Look how healthy they are. Here's our whatever cows and chickens, and this is how they are before you eat them. See how healthy they are. So you're going to eat healthy and delicious meat. That's just hilarious. The contrast there is very profound. It turns out that this place is actually kind of inside an industrial complex. And this happened yesterday, but there was someone at the boom gate who wouldn't let me through, but this boom gate's unattended. So I'll just walk in. It seems now that the stolovayas that are on the map, like Yandex maps, seem to be inside industrial complexes. So I think that, I'm just guessing here, right? But maybe the term stolovaya is used a little bit differently here. Let's go on the road compared to Belarus, because Belarus seems to have a broader meaning in terms of how it's actually applied in reality, whereas here it seems to be more of a workers' dining room. Although it depends where you are, as I say. I mean, in Astrakhan, as I said, I went to a awesome little stolovaya place, this kind of family from, I don't know where they're from, somewhere ethnically speaking. And oh man, it was one of the best meals I've ever had. It was 150 rubles, which is like about $1.60 US. And it was like chicken, potatoes, you know, the manti. It's like a kind of like a dumpling, a bit like a pelmeni, but kind of bigger. I think it has. I think it was originally created in Uzbekistan, but this stuff just mixes around. You know what I mean? Once you see something that's good, people kind of add it to the menu there. So we're in this kind of industrial complex here, and I don't even know if it's going to be here, to be honest. I've lost a bit of faith in the index maps. It doesn't seem to be quite as updated as normal. I guess it's a bit of the Russian attitude, you know? The Russian attitude of, I don't care. I can't be fucked. I can't be bothered updating the Yandex maps. I can't be bothered blah, blah, blah. If you don't like it, I don't care. I've got some signs here. We're feeling pretty confident that this is it. All right, you'll notice that the name has changed. It's now Novaya Stolovaya, so this means new Stolovaya. And guess what that says? Stolovaya is opening on the 1st of September. I feel like there's a big disconnect between Yandex maps and what's actually happening in the real world. So I'm just gonna walk and find somewhere and eat. All right, after another 10 minutes of walking around, I found this place. And it's kind of like a half stolovaya, half cafe, just on the run. They got some typical stolovaya stuff in there though, so let's just go in here, suss out the menu. You got more of your pastry stuff, just more cafe type pastry stuff there. But we're not interested in that today. We're interested in the more stolovaya kind of stuff. So you can see, pretty typical. Exchange rate's around 95 to 1. So it's roughly for 100 grams, $1 US. Let's see the difference. This one's typical beetroot, potato. I'll get some of that just for the fun. Very typical. You can see the carrots, peas, potato mixes. Throw in a little bit of the capsicum. You can see the dill sprinkled through there as well. These are all roughly $1 for 100 grams. Some kind of rice. Got some grechka there, some buckwheat. And some sausages. All these prices are 100 grams. So effectively that's how many cents they are in US cents. That's around 70 cents for 100 grams. So a sausage is probably about $1, roughly. Some other kind of meat, cutlets. This is referred to as cutlet, this one here. That's with some meat, with some kebab. And that's sirniki, which you probably know, this is like a fried cottage cheese. And then some blini as well with some meat inside. Very popular dish. It's also a popular dessert too. It's kind of like a mixed cheese with like almost like a raisin kind of thing inside. It's all weighed. Let's see how heavy that is. I think these are by the piece. That was by the weight. No, this kebab's by the weight as well. So I'll get the check so I can show you how much each one costs. I think these are per piece. The blini was per piece, maybe it's sirniki.
Блин, с чем?
Just asked her what kind of blini it was, and she said it's one with meat. Alright, this is what we got. So we got a piece of kebab there. Some of this kind of beetroot. We'll go through this in more detail as I eat it. Beetroot, potato, something else going on there. Some sirniki, which is like a fried cottage cheese. And then blini with miso. Now she didn't have a check available, right? So, but roughly it's about 50 cents. Sorry, 50 cents for the miso blini. And then the sirniki was around $1. That's kind of what we're looking at here. Let's investigate this a bit. So we kind of got this creamy cheese. I presume it's just smetana on top. Oh no, it's more like a tartar sauce taste. Got some beetroot. No idea what that is. Potato, sour cream. There's something else kind of spilling out here. Is it almost a capsicum or pepper? And oh, it is this one. It's got the herring. Look at that. Herring underneath. I love this stuff. So this kebab. Now these have found their way into a lot of stolovayas that I've noticed. This has kind of made its way into mainstream Russian food culture. Alright, so this is the blini. Now the good thing about blini, which is just pancakes, or a pancakes, is we have blin. The good thing about this is that you can kind of put anything with it. You can make like a dessert, so you can put like sweetened condensed milk, or you can put meat in there, or you can put cottage cheese in there. There's almost anything you can put in a pancake, which makes it really handy. There you go. It's got kind of minced meat in this one. Looks solid. Alright, we're all nice and prepped here. Now what I've noticed is eating in places like Belarus and Russia. Now, these are not countries that are known for their food, in case you didn't realise, right? But when you kind of get used to eating it, and you find better versions of all their dishes, their food's pretty damn good, and they've got quite a bit of variety. It's actually quite livable, because look, you don't go many places and find a Russian restaurant, right? Unless it's serving the local Russian population, which might have migrated to that area or that country or whatever. Whereas here, what you'll see, I just walk past like 3 sushi restaurants trying to find this place, right? Of course, pizza and of course shawarma's everywhere. But the Russian food just hasn't exported for some reason. Here we are, post-carnage, post-lunchtime carnage, 4 dishes. It's pretty extravagant. Like, you typically wouldn't get 4 dishes. It's a bit like I haven't had breakfast and I'm greedy and I'm making a video, so I'll order more stuff. And it was 3.5, roughly 3.7 US dollars, 355 rubles in total. So usually you'd probably only get half of that in reality. You're not going to get 4 dishes every day unless it's kind of your only meal of the day. But it was good. It was tasty. I'm happy in the end. I realise now that the building I went to before was probably a university, and universities open on the 1st of September, so clearly it will be shut. But finally found this place. Very simple, basic place, but just really hearty food, man. Like, it's really hearty.